Hello world! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shanay Braxton and I am a travel and lifestyle content creator. I am here today with another pregnancy update. I am currently about 17 weeks. I started to bloat and it just started to feel uncomfortable in my body, in my midsection. And I was like, ugh, I don't like this. I could tell because with my pants that I wear to work, I was belting those pants like to the last belt hook. Then I'm not even wearing a belt anymore. So that's how I started to notice like my body is growing. And I had my first doctor's appointment on December 6th. And from there, I was able to measure my body. So I measured my body 2 days before my doctor's appointment, the day of my doctor's appointment, and yesterday. Not much has changed. My hips have been between 100 centimeters and 103 centimeters. I'm measuring my lower back and my lower stomach. That's actually grown. So from December 4th to December 6th, I've gone from 91 centimeters to 95 centimeters. And then my belly button, I'm measuring around my belly button. That has stayed the same, it's pretty consistent. That has been 84 centimeters from December 4th. And that's when I was 11 weeks. Now I'm at 86.5 centimeters. And then I'm measuring my breasts. They have grown significantly. Like that was the first indicator that I was pregnant because my boobs are naturally small. But when they started to grow and get heavy, I was like, oh yeah. So from December 4th, my breasts were at a 92 centimeter and now they're at 94 centimeters. Those are my measurements and I'm gonna continue to measure my body over this pregnancy journey. I'm due June 21st, 2023, and it is January 7th, 2023. So I'm 6 months out. I guess I can show you what my stomach looks like now. The baby is still very, very small. I've been experiencing heartburn and like indigestion. Doesn't feel like my food is digesting properly. But when I was 11 weeks, that was around December 4th, the baby was about 5 centimeters, which is probably about this big. Musa and I, we don't know the sex of the baby. We want it to be a surprise. So we are getting blood work and genetic testing and things like that to make sure that everything is okay, the baby is healthy, I'm healthy. And during the genetic testing, you can get the sex of the baby, but I decided that I didn't want it. I want to wait and see. It's been a very fun experience telling my family just because they're all like, well, what are you having, a girl or a boy? And I'm like, it's gonna be a surprise. And they're like, well, tell us the names. I'm like, the names are gonna be a surprise. We've already decided on a boy name. We decided on a boy name before we even got pregnant. We haven't firmed up the girl's name yet. But we have come up with some names. When I was talking to my mom and sister about the names, my mom says, you need to tell us the names so that we can practice pronouncing them. And it was funny because, I mean, that's real. Even when Musa and I had the conversation, I expressed to him that I want our kids' names to be names that I myself can pronounce. Like Musa's name is a traditional Senegalese name. It's a traditional Muslim name, and it's very easy to pronounce. But there are some names that are a lot longer and a little bit more difficult to pronounce. But everybody has given suggestions. Everybody wants the baby to be named after them between my family. And so I had to let them know the baby's name will be a Senegalese name. So maybe we'll have to squeeze in an American name in the middle name, as the middle name. We'll see. So I can show you what my stomach looks like now. It's probably hard to tell. Okay, so here's my stomach so far. You can see the bulge. Yeah, so at some point the baby will be living in there, but for now, because I'm still kind of early on, they haven't moved up yet. So this is how I'm looking so far. And I'm at about 17 weeks. My next doctor's appointment is next week. I have blood work that I need to do, and then after that I have another appointment with the birthing center. So I need to give you an update on the birthing center because I'm planning to do a birthing center birth, which I mentioned in the previous video that Musa and I my family are not in agreement on a birth center birth. He would prefer that we give birth in the hospital, and I would prefer a natural birth and at a birth center or a place that's more intimate and not a hospital, because I like dark lighting, dark setting, dark moods, and I know a home birth, a birth center birth will give me that experience where we can have candles, we can have a dark mood, we can have music and ambiance, not all these harsh lights and just a lot of things going on, me in a hospital gown. I truly do not want that experience, and I'm really hoping that my body can handle a birth center birth. And in order for my body to be able to handle it, I have to reduce the amount of stress that I'm putting myself around. So with that being said, birth center births are an out-of-pocket expense depending on the type of insurance you have. And it's expensive. It's expensive. To me, it's worth it, because to me, it'll give me that intimate care, that intimate experience, that personalized care, the personalized experience that I am looking for and that I want. And Musa is nervous because he wants me to be at a hospital because it feels more safe for him. And I do understand where he's coming from. My family said the same thing, and I understand, but a birth center is safe as well. And they will let me know well in advance before I even go into labor if I'm able to have a birth center birth, because I might have to have it at the hospital if my body is not going to allow me to do it the way that I want. With that being said, the price of a birth center birth is an out-of-pocket expense for us. I'm hoping that we can get a grant to cover this experience, because it will be a lot for us to manage financially. Musa just moved to the US. We just moved to Los Angeles, and we're still both getting ourselves established within our careers and financially. And we both work. We work very hard, but we still have other expenses to consider. And thankfully, with birth center births and with home births, there are some organizations that offer grants. They open up the funding window based on due dates. And they just opened up the funding window for June 2023 due dates today, January 7th, 2023. They opened up the funding window at 10 a.m. PST. I applied. My application was submitted by 11:30 a.m. PST. And so they give you a 1-week window to apply for the grant, and then they cut it off, and they let you know by the end of this month whether or not you receive the grant funding. And I'm very, very grateful, and fingers crossed we are accepted for the grant. I shared our story and how we met as when I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Morocco, and how Musa had just moved to the United States after 5 years of being married. And so I'm really hoping that our story is compelling enough for us to be one of the grant recipients. I'm really hoping so. I'll keep you posted. Once I receive the grant, I'll be able to make the payments using the grant funding versus my own funding, because in the beginning I'll pay the initial deposit to get started, and then once the grant money kicks in, then I'll use that money to fund the birth center birth. We made the announcement of our pregnancy when we went home for my friend's New Year's Eve wedding. And I hope that you enjoy coming along on this journey with me. It's a totally new experience, and I'm very grateful and excited to be on this journey. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know, have you ever heard of a birth center birth? Have you ever heard of home birthing? What do you think about it? You know, which would you prefer now that you have heard about it, if it's news to you? That's all for now, and until next time, bye.